While there are a plethora of animal proteins and animal parts you can feed to your raw-fed pet, there are a few options out there that you should avoid. And in this video, I'm going to be going over 3 main protein sources that you should avoid adding into your pet's diet, as well as a bonus species that's a bit controversial, so stick around until the end. Number 1. Carnivore meat. There are many reasons why carnivore meat shouldn't be fed to other carnivores. To start out, let's look at what carnivores eat in the wild. Big cats, like leopards, prey on animals like antelope and rabbits, and wild wolves prey on animals like deer and bison. What these prey animals have in common is the fact that they're herbivores, or plant-eating animals. Herbivores tend to be weaker than the carnivore and therefore easier to hunt. Carnivores may put up a much bigger and more dangerous fight if hunted, which results in more energy or calories they would have to expend fighting. Carnivores in the wild have also been observed avoiding other carnivorous animal carcasses, especially ones of their own species. In 2017, a study led by researchers from the University of Granada examined carnivores and their interactions with carcasses. The study proposed that the probability of contracting pathogens when consuming meat from other carnivores, especially of their own species, was greater compared to herbivore carcasses, and could potentially endanger their life. The results showed that the percentage of consumed mass was substantially higher with the herbivore carcasses than the carnivore carcasses, and the area of the herbivore carcasses had a lot more traffic as well. Additionally, they did not witness any cannibalism. Because of instances like this, it's suggested that carnivores have learned through evolution to discern safe and unsafe carcasses, most likely from the smell. Along with pathogens, another major danger to add to the list is biomagnification. Biomagnification is the process by which the concentration of heavy metals, radioactive compounds, and toxins within the animal's body increase as you go up the food chain. When predatory animals consume their prey, they're also absorbing all of the toxic chemicals within the body, which build up in their system through bioaccumulation. For example, plants absorb these toxins and metals from the soil, then get consumed by herbivores, which are then eaten by carnivores. This results in carnivorous meat having a much higher amount of heavy metals and toxins, which cannot be destroyed by cooking. When it comes to omnivores, it's a little different. While omnivores do eat meat, the primary energy source comes from fruits, vegetables, and grains, and therefore biomagnification is less of an issue. So what does this all mean for your pet? If your dog went out and killed a fox, they may have had success killing it, but feeding the fox's meat still poses the risk of pathogens from parasites. What if you were given carnivore meat from a hunter that properly cleaned and froze the meat accordingly? The danger of feeding meat that's riddled with heavy metals and toxins is still there. Because of these numerous risks, carnivore meat is just better avoided. Number 2. Predatory fish. While feeding fish is important in providing omega-3s to the raw diet, you need to know which fish are beneficial and which fish can cause mercury toxicity. High mercury exposure can harm the brain, heart, kidneys, lungs, and immune system. While most fish contain mercury, they also contain selenium. Studies have shown that selenium can counteract mercury toxicity and prohibits its ability to lodge into fatty tissue. This antidotal effect was discovered in the 1960s and has been since confirmed in all investigated species of mammals, birds, and fish. For this to work though, the fish should have a higher amount of selenium than it does mercury. Larger predatory fish like swordfish, tuna, and sharks have a higher amount of mercury than they do selenium, which makes it very difficult to provide enough selenium for protection against mercury toxicity. Because of this, it's best to avoid feeding these fish altogether. Number 3. Wild hogs. In the United States and Europe, it's highly recommended to not feed wild hogs for a variety of reasons. A major one being pseudorabies, or Ojeski's disease, which is 100% fatal in pets. This disease is freeze-resistant and can only be destroyed by being cooked above 160 degrees Fahrenheit. It's important to note that this is not something you have to worry about in commercially raised pigs in the United States. However, because of the European free trade market, there may be some concern with feeding commercial hogs in this region. The only exception would be knowing how the hogs were fed and raised, and if they've been tested and confirmed negative for the virus. Another reason wild hog meat shouldn't be fed is trichinella, which is a parasite found in swine. Trichinosis, the disease caused by trichinella, used to be more common in domestic pigs. However, infection nowadays is relatively rare in the US. While this is still prevalent in wild hogs, USDA-inspected pork that is designated for human consumption is safe to feed. Finally, onto a bonus animal that I see some controversy over: amphibians. These animals have a very porous, permeable skin, and the primary barrier that allows transdermic absorption is much thinner in amphibians like frogs, which is often the amphibian fed in the raw diet. While mammal skin is often 10 to 20 cell layers thick, frogs commonly have only 1 or 2 cell layers. Therefore, studies have shown that chemical absorption in frogs is much higher. Because of this, it's likely that chemicals, toxins, and parasites in the water the frog lived in are also within their skin. Many ferret raw feeders add frog legs into their protein rotation, as amphibians are animals that mustelids prey on in the wild. Frog legs found in stores are skinned and farm-raised for human consumption, so in theory, there shouldn't be any toxins within their muscle meat. But to guarantee this, you would need to find out where they were sourced from and what conditions they were raised in. Curious about what animal proteins should be fed in a raw diet? Check this video out.